Hello everyone, my name is Mary, and today, as another episode of Scientific Stuffs, I'm going to talk about science friction. Well, let's see. Well, firstly, I want you guys to imagine that you forget your mittens on a very cold day. You rub your chilly hands together, and then suddenly they feel warmer. Where did the warmth come from? Many of you don't know, so I'm going to explain this to you. The warmth in your hand came from something called friction. And friction is a force, and it happens between objects that rub against each other. That means that when you rub your hands with each other, the particles catch each other and then pull, and that creates heat. And yeah, you pretty got much what is friction. You use friction every day if you don't know. When you walk, run, jump, and stop, your feet touch the ground and create friction. If you wear skates with wheels, you have less friction with the ground because you're wearing skates. Well, frictions happen between all kinds of matter from solids to gases, and matter makes up everything around you. Each matter is made up of tiny particles, and as I said, when things rub to when things rub together, the edges of the particles catch and then pull, and then catch and pull, and just like that, we can create heat, and then you feel warmer every time you rub your hands. Fire from friction. Well, if you don't know, then we can make fire from friction. Well, let's give you an example. Well, do you know matches that when you rub the head of it onto a quite rough surface, it'll create flame and the match lights up. This friction gives off heat, so the match catches fire. Some people can light a fire by rubbing two sticks together. Then, when camping, when you forget your match, but this one takes up a lot of patience, time, and skill. And the wood must be at a much higher temperature than the match. And a match can light up at a quite low temperature, so bring a match. Friction also appears in machinery, and machines can create a lot of friction. As a result, lots of heat too. When machines get too hot, their parts can short circuit, melt, or even catch fire. Many machines have ways to prevent friction. Some of them use a thing called ball bearings between their parts, and this ball bearing rolls, and rolling causes less friction than sliding. Others use lubricant, for an example, like oil. When machines get too hot, we use fan, water, or air conditioners to cool them down. There's also something called internal friction. This happens inside an object when it bends, melts, or something like that. And when you bend, objects' particles catch on each other. And then we have internal friction. Imagine bending a paper clip. I guess most of you guys have done it. And when you briefly touch the part you have bent, you feel like some feeling of hot or warm. There are also friction in the atmosphere. You may not notice it, but air causes friction every time you move. At a very high speeds, friction with the air causes a lot of heat. And do you know meteoroids, the piece of rock falls from falls from space to Earth? As you see, it's like often have a fire, like fired up because of the friction between the atmosphere of the Earth and space. The heat is so great that most of them burned up completely. Spacecraft must withstand the heat caused by friction when they exit and re-enter Earth's atmosphere too. But you don't we don't need to worry about that much because spacecraft have special heat shields and protect astronauts from the heat of friction. Once a spacecraft is in space, there is no friction. Why? There's almost no matter to rub against in space more than them. Well, I hope you guys have learned a lot from today, and good night.